Hello gamers. Are you a fan of stunning HD 2D visuals like those in Octopath Traveler? Do you crave a dark and realistic story that will immerse you in the intricate politics of different factions? Look no further than Triangle Strategy, the tactical RPG that will leave you on the edge of your seat. This game offers a variety of classes beyond the usual swordsmen, archers, and mages, with unique options such as acrobats, wordsmiths, weather-based magic users, and geologists. The strategic possibilities are endless. But what really sets Triangle Strategy apart is its conviction system, which adds a whole new level of depth to the game. It challenges you to question your beliefs and put your convictions to the test. Are you really who you think you are? The conviction system is like a true psychological test that will reveal your true self. Your decisions have real consequences and will impact the story and the fate of the entire world. And what's even more intriguing is the game's unique voting system that keeps you engaged at every turn. So, are you ready to uncover the truth about yourself in this epic game of strategy? Get ready to experience Triangle Strategy, the game that will challenge your mind and captivate your heart. Gamers and Cheetos. Triangle Strategy is a tactical RPG developed and published by Square Enix. It features stunning HD 2D visuals that are reminiscent of the classic RPGs of the past, but with a modern twist. The game is set in a world of complicated politics, where the fate of the entire world rests in your hands. Triangle Strategy is set in the continent of Norzelia, where three powerful factions, the Kingdom of Glenbrook, Grand Duchy of Eastfrost, and the Holy State of Hyzante, are vying for control. As a player, you take on the role of Serenoa, a noble who is caught up in the conflict. With your allies, you must navigate the complex political landscape of Glenbrook and make difficult decisions that will impact the course of the war. Along the way, you'll encounter a variety of characters with their own agendas and motivations, and uncover secrets and conspiracies that will keep you guessing until the very end. The story is dark, realistic, and engaging, and will keep you hooked from beginning to end. To progress through the game, there are three main types of gameplay: the main story, which follows the game's plot and takes you on various quests and battles; RPG exploration, where you can explore different places like villages, castles, or mining sites related to the current story. You can interact with the environment and NPC during RPG exploration. Sometimes, you need to act like a detective, talking to everyone to uncover hidden truths. Sometimes you need to gather information that used to convince your allies in the voting session. And sometimes, the areas you explore during RPG exploration will also serve as battlefields, so it's important to strategize and become familiar with the terrain before the battle starts. Finally, the voting sessions are pivotal moments in the game where you must make decisions that impact the story's outcome. These three elements work together to create an engaging and complex gameplay experience. Voting is a crucial part of Triangle Strategy. But before we get into that, let's talk about the genius game mechanics, conviction mechanics. This unique gameplay mechanics plays a significant role in the story and the decisions you make as a player, and it revolves three convictions: morality, liberty, and utility. As you progress through the game, you'll encounter various situations and decisions that challenge your beliefs and force you to make choices that align with one of these convictions. Each conviction represents a different ethical perspective. Morality represents doing what is right and just, regardless of the consequences. Liberty represents the pursuit of personal freedom and autonomy, while utility represents the pursuit of the greater good and the most efficient outcome. What's amazing about this system is that it judges almost everything you do in the game, like how many battles you've fought, the NPCs you've talked to, the money you've spent, the number of enemies left when you win a battle, the level difference between you and your opponents, and whether or not you healed your allies. And that's just to name a few of the factors it considers. Unlike other games where ethical judgments are often based on killing people or dialogue options, this system is much more complex and nuanced. However, the game doesn't provide specific details on how each behavior affects each conviction or how much it affects it. You'll only find out after finishing your first playthrough. During the game's voting sessions, you and the other characters will cast your vote based on your convictions. The outcome of the vote will determine the game's storyline, how it progresses, and the fate of various characters and factions. Since you don't exactly know how to increase or decrease each conviction, it's like a psychological test. Sometimes, you might not be exactly who you think you are. For example, I believed that I valued liberty the most, so I tried my best to act like a free person. However, some of the voting results were not what I expected. I couldn't persuade other characters to vote for Liberty because my Liberty point was not high enough. According to what I did in the game, it seems like the conviction system judged me as someone who values morality more. The conviction mechanics and voting system are incredibly interesting and immersive. You will feel regret several times in this game, but you have to accept it and move on. Alright, let's talk about the combat system in Triangle Strategy. It's turn-based and takes place on a grid-based battlefield. Each character has their own unique abilities and skills they can use during their turn. Positioning is crucial in battle, as the terrain can have a big impact on the outcome. For example, standing on higher ground can give you an advantage, while being on lower ground can put you at a disadvantage. Standing on higher ground is particularly beneficial for archers. Attacking an enemy from behind will cause a critical hit, and if you surround them with several units, your units will perform follow-up attacks. Just be careful, because the enemy can do the same to your units. The terrain also affects the range and effectiveness of certain abilities and spells. For instance, fire can burn the grass, and stepping on a burned area will damage you. Ice magic can freeze the ground, decreasing your accuracy and mobility. Using fire to melt ice will wet the land. And if it's raining, the land will also get wet. Since water conducts electricity, using electrical magic on wet land will attack all characters on it, not just enemies but also your allies. There are many battle strategies, but managing your tactical points, TP, is the most important. TP is an important resource that you can use during battles to unleash powerful abilities and spells that can change the course of the fight. The amount of TP required varies based on the ability used, and TP increases by 1 each turn. To use TP effectively, you need to balance your offensive and defensive strategies, deciding when to use basic attacks and when to use more powerful abilities. You also need to take into account the positioning and terrain of your characters, as certain abilities can affect the environment and other characters on the battlefield. Managing TP effectively is crucial for winning battles, as it allows you to execute stronger attacks or key defensive moves. The TP system adds an extra level of strategy to the combat in Triangle Strategy, forcing you to plan and decide carefully when and how to use your character's TP to achieve victory. Triangle Strategy has a bunch of cool characters with unique skill sets. I want to talk about my top 3 favorites, starting with Piccoletta. She's an acrobat who's super agile and can dodge attacks like a boss. Her skills are really interesting too, because she's great at tossing items at enemies. It might not sound like a big deal, but since tossing items doesn't cost TP, you can throw around all kinds of elemental stones with different attributes, making her like a super powerful mage who can cast spells of every element every turn without running out of TP. It's pretty overpowered, so she can save up TP easily, which is a huge plus. Of course, the damage from the elemental stones isn't as high as actual magic spells, but it's still pretty effective. Piccoletta can also summon a clone on any square you choose, which is super useful cause it can act as a tank and absorb enemy attacks. The only downside to Piccoletta is that she can be a bit pricey to use because elemental stones aren't exactly cheap, especially in the early stages of the game. You might want to spend your money on materials to upgrade your character's skills instead. By the way, have you heard the voice acting for Piccoletta? It's freaking amazing. I mean, I already raved about how awesome her skills are, but her voice acting really takes it to another level. Honestly, it's probably the main reason I use her as my go-to combat unit in almost every battle. Milo is another interesting character. She's a dancer. She has high evasion and magic defense, which makes her a great tank. She's the only character that isn't afraid of physical and magic attacks. In battle, she can tempt enemies, which is pretty useful. When an enemy is tempted, not only will they attack their own allies, but they can also perform follow-up attacks. Milo's moon jump ability is super useful too. It allows her to move to any selected square, making her a very agile unit that can easily move in and out of danger. Milo's only weakness is her low strength. She's a great support character, but she can't deal much damage. There are many healers in the Triangle Strategy, but Medina is definitely a special one. She's awesome at using items to heal her allies instead of relying on magic. Her skill set makes her a top-notch healer who can heal allies without spending TP and from a distance, which is totally overpowered because you can heal your allies every turn. Plus, her passive skill, TP Physic, is a game changer since it lets Medina give 1 TP when using a health recovery item. Since TP management is crucial in combat, Medina can heal multiple allies without using up her own TP and get them back in the game, which is pretty darn super overpowered. Alright, let me share my feeling about this game in different aspects, including story, gameplay, audio, visuals, and replayability. First of all, let's talk about the story. It's the strongest aspect of this game. The story is what makes Triangle Strategy so captivating. It's filled with political intrigue, morally ambiguous characters, and complex relationships between them all. The game explores themes of war, power, and sacrifice in a mature and thoughtful way, forcing you to consider the consequences of every decision you make as you follow the game's branching narrative. Even though the game's 2D HD style doesn't allow for a ton of expression on the characters' faces, the amazing voice acting more than makes up for it. Most of the scenes are so gripping that you'll be on the edge of your seat, eagerly anticipating what's going to happen next. There are so many plot twists that you'll never be able to guess what's coming next. The voting system adds another layer of immersion to the story. Every character has a unique and interesting personality, with their own motivations driving them forward. You'll love some characters and hate others, and some will keep you guessing the whole way through. All in all, I'd give the story a super high rating of 9.8 out of 10. It's really that good. The combat system is really strategic and requires careful consideration of various factors such as positioning, terrain, and most importantly, TP management. Since you can't use all characters in combat, choosing the right units is crucial. You need to think about how to create a good combination of characters and maintain balance. The class system is also quite interesting and diverse, but resources are limited, so it's important to maximize and optimize your team's abilities to win fights. With so many different classes, it can be tough to decide which characters to use. Overall, I'd give the gameplay a solid score of 8.5 out of 10. The music in Triangle Strategy is composed by Senju Akira, a renowned composer in the gaming and anime industry who also composed music for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The music is great and immersive, not much to say about it. However, the voice acting is absolutely amazing. Despite the 2D HD visuals, the voice acting conveys the characters' emotions perfectly, making it the soul of the game. Therefore, I would give the audio a score of 9 out of 10. The visuals in Triangle Strategy feature 2D HD graphics, which is a treasure Square Enix found. Ever since Octopath Traveler, Square Enix has been launching many games with 2D HD visuals. These games often feature a hand-drawn or pixel art style with modern visual fidelity and resolution. It's a popular art style in many indie and retro-style games. I think this is a brilliant approach because 2D HD visuals fuse retro-style gameplay with modern visual, making it appealing to both old and new gamers. However, in my personal opinion, the visuals in this game are good, but haven't improved too much since the release of Octopath Traveler. Therefore, I would give the visuals a fairly good score of 8 out of 10. Triangle Strategy has a pretty high level of replayability due to its branching narrative and multiple endings. The game's story has several decision points, and the choices the player makes can affect the direction and outcome of the story. This means that players can play the game multiple times to see different outcomes and story paths. It took me 35 hours to finish my first playthrough. Moreover, the game features a new Game Plus mode, which allows players to carry over their progress and items from their previous playthrough. This mode can make subsequent playthroughs easier, and players can focus on different choices or strategies. However, the game's combat system is relatively fixed, and there is a limited number of units and classes available. This means that subsequent playthroughs may feel similar in terms of combat gameplay. Overall, I would say the replayability of the game is around 8.2 out of 10. Okay, let's talk about a fun fact about this game. In the Japanese version, the 3 convictions are moral, benefit, and freedom, but in the English version, they are morality, utility, and liberty. Personally, I find benefit and freedom to be more reasonable and understandable, but as a non-native English speaker, I'm not sure about the subtle differences between liberty and freedom. Can you explain the difference to me? Also, which version do you think is better, the Japanese or the English, and why? Triangle Strategy is definitely a masterpiece, and I highly recommend it, especially for tactical RPG fans. However, I do have a complaint about the game. The story is incredibly long, and sometimes the scenes and story events between 2 battles can be quite lengthy. You may have to spend up to an hour watching the story progress before the next battle. The ratio between story and combat is around 5:5 or even 6:4, which can be frustrating if you're looking for a game that focuses more heavily on combat. Although the story is the best part of this game, the length of time between battles is my main complaint. So, if you're primarily interested in combat-focused TRPGs, Triangle Strategy may not be the best choice for you. Alright, the conviction mechanics in this game are super interesting, and I'm wondering which conviction you value the most. A. Morality. B. Utility. C. Liberty. Leave a comment below and let me know your conviction. Also, I highly recommend playing this game to test whether you truly believe in what you think. And if you're a big fan of TRPGs, don't miss our review video of Fire Emblem Three Houses. Thanks for watching, and catch you later.